Now, the variables that we've used in PHP so far have been, if you like, single value variables. You can visualize them as boxes, and inside those boxes we can only store a single value. Now, of course, in the real world we know that data is a bit more complicated than that, and often we want to store multiple values under the same name. So in the previous examples, when we've looked at things, you make up a variable like number of days of the week or something, and it's going to contain a single value. But often what we want to have a name, a variable, and inside that name or that variable there will be multiple values. And the construct that allows us to do that is called an array in PHP. Now, arrays come in two types. There are indexed arrays and there are associative arrays. I'm just going to talk about indexed arrays here. Now, the easy way to visualize an array is as a series of boxes, not just one box, all with the same name. So here you can see I've got 4 boxes. So I would say that this is an array that can store 4 values. And in this instance, each of the box is containing a string. And this array is called colors. So colors, $colors, is an array, and it's got 4 boxes, 4 values, and you can see the value in the first box is red, the value in the second box is white, the third box doesn't have anything inside it, and the fourth box has a value of green. And those are strings, so I've indicated that by putting the quotes around them. And all 4 of these boxes are bundled together into this structure that's called an array with a single name called colors. So this example's only got 4, but obviously when you're doing programs, it could have 3, it could have 20 boxes, it could have 1,000 boxes, all tied to the same name. So how do we get access to those individual boxes if we have this single name, colors? Well, we use this concept of an index. And an index will be a number, and what that number will do is it will indicate the particular box that we're interested in inside our array structure. Now, PHP uses square brackets to indicate the array. So let's have a look at this. So here's my colors array, and you can see I've got 4 boxes and they're numbered from 0 through to 3, and we've got the 4 values there, red, green, blue, yellow. So if I were to print out the value that's in the second box, you'll notice that the second box has an index number of 1. So often in computing we start our numbering from zeros. So we use that square bracket notation, and if we want to print out the second box along, in other words the box that has the index of 1, we use the square bracket notation and we go print $colors, and then inside square brackets we put the number we're particularly interested in here, which is 1, and if we run that, what will happen is it will print out green. Now we could, if we go print colors 3, that would print out yellow. If we did print colors 0, that would print out red. The important point is that we have to put the index inside the square brackets. Now in this instance, I'm actually literally just writing the number in that gap between the square brackets. It could be a formula, it could be a variable between the square brackets in some complicated program that we're writing. So how do we actually change the values inside the cells? Well, we use this notation. We use the name of the array and the square brackets, and then we simply use the assignment operator. So here, for example, let's say that we wanted to change the value of the indexed cell 2 to purple. Currently you can see it's the value blue. So what we do is we simply go colors2 equals some value. So in this instance it's going to be purple. And if we run that, what would happen is that box would change and become purple. Similarly then, we could do colors0 equals yellow, or colors 3 equals navy, whatever you like. Here I'm using a string, but an array which is being indexed like this, it can store anything. It could be numbers, it could be strings, whatever you like in these series of boxes. So how do we actually create the array? Well, the easiest way to do this in PHP is to simply start using it. And PHP, what PHP attempts to do is it will notice that you've used the square bracket notation, and it will simply create an array for you using that name and the index. So here, for example, I haven't got any other previous code. I've just gone colors 0 equals red. And what happens here is it goes, aha, this is going to be an array. So I'll create it and it's going to have the name colors. And then the first box is going to have the index of 0. And inside that box, I'm going to put the value red. And after that, we could have another line. We could say colors 1 equals green. And what that will do is go, oh yes, this is referring to the array that I've just created. It's going to be an array, another box added on the end with an index of 1, and it's going to have a value of green. And we could just carry on like that. We could go colors 2 equal purple. And you can see over time, what we're doing is we're just gradually adding items on to the end of the array. Now there's another way of creating an array, and that's to use the reserve word array. And with array, what we do is we have brackets and we have a series of values separated with a comma. And what will happen is that PHP will go, aha, this is going to be an array, it's going to have a name, it's going to have the name colors, and it's going to have 1, 2, 3, 4 items, 4 boxes. And here you'll notice that we don't supply an index value. If you don't supply an index value, if you use this notation, PHP will start the numbering from 0. So again, this refers back to what I was saying earlier on. Often in computing, counting doesn't start from 1. Often we start from 0. Now, if you use this notation, how do you add an item onto the end? Well, you use this. You go colors, empty square brackets equals some value. Now, the reason that we have to use empty square brackets is that we simply don't know how many items there are in the array. So what PHP will do is it will simply add an item onto the end and it will increment the index counter. So in this instance, you can see what happens is it's going to create another box called, and inside that box it's going to put the value black, and the index indicator, the index that's derived from the sequence, will be the next one up, which in this instance would be 4. Let's have a look at some examples of these.